Today we're going to look at the new VANTRUE Nexus N4 Pro Dashcam. This has got 3 cameras in it. Front-facing, interior cabin, and rear-facing camera that you attach on the back window. 4K out the front window, 1080p for both the interior and the rear camera. I'm going to show you the features of it. I'm going to temporarily install it in my car. It's not saying it right now, but I'll be putting it in probably at some point. But temporary install, we'll show you some footage off it. Let's get cracking. Today I'm going to take a look at the new Dashcam from VANTRUE. It's brand new. Features 4K HDR front and 1080p cabin and a 1080p rear camera. So this one's got 3 cameras in it. One that records inside the cabin, out the front window, and there's a camera to go to the back. It features a 3.19-inch IPS LCD screen, voice control, 5 GHz Wi-Fi, and app control, GPS logger, buffered motion detection, collision detection, low bitrate parking mode, adjustable parking mode zone, magnetic assist mount, supercapacitor, extreme temperature protection, and a CPL filter, which is a circular polarizing filter, is optional. And I think a CPL filter is probably a must because it removes glare when you're recording in the daytime. We're going to unbox this one and take a look at it, and I'm going to set it up and shoot some video with it. As you can see, it's factory sealed. It's just tear open. Big warning sticker right there to warn you what way to plug it in, because obviously some people have plugged it in the wrong way. So they want to make sure that the first thing you see is how not to hook it up. Here's the camera. This is the, I guess this is the rear camera. The camera's attached using double-sided tape to your front and rear windshield. I will not be using that. Rear camera. I'm going to install them with zip ties temporarily for my demo. Adjust the angle that it's pointed. And here's the main camera here with the front camera and the interior camera. This is where you would put on the polarizing filter. There's the screen. You've got buttons on here for microphone in the bottom here. It tells you how to switch cameras. Emergency lock, snapshot, power on and off. That's, which button's that? I guess that's this one on the side here. There, that's the power button to turn it on and off, and emergency snapshot. Tells you, click it and it'll do an emergency lock and snapshot. Press and hold for power. And it says like press, a short press or a long press. The buttons on the bottom here, this one here is for record, start and stop, or screen on and off. Just press and hold to turn the screen on and off. Next one over switches the view on the screen. And the third button over is turning the microphone on and off and selecting the parking mode. And this one's menu and Wi-Fi on and off. Those are the 4 there. The 4 buttons. Okay. You open that up and the memory card goes right in the side there. Cool. It's magnetic. So you just flip that open and there's where the memory card goes. Alright, first things first, let's look at the manual and see what the specs are. It's got a power adapter that comes with it here. And what else is in here? This is the mount, I guess, that goes on the window. Yeah, it's got a mount that goes on the window, and your power plugs into there, and then the camera will just attach, and it's magnetic as well. So when you attach the camera, you just sit the camera on like this. This goes on the window and the camera just attaches like that, and it's held in place magnetically, and you can adjust the angle off the window here, so you can turn this any which way you want. This sticks to the glass and stays there. Great, another permanent attachment in my car. And again, it's got the interior facing camera. This is more for Uber drivers and stuff that want to record what's going on inside the car. So you've got Sean inside the car, and I'm sure it also probably will catch the side windows as well for something happening on either side of the car. So you got your front camera covering what's out the front window, you've got the interior camera covering what's going on inside the car, and you've got a rear camera sitting in the back window facing outside, catching whatever's coming up behind you. That's the 3 cameras. Got some cables here. Got a USB-C cable that you would run from the front camera to the back, because everything's now based on USB type cables. And it would plug in, there's the rear camera right there. Rear camera plugs in there, and your main power plugs in, DC power plugs in there. So you got a USB, you got a power cable for your power here. That's a tool to help you run the wiring around the car. And here's the power plug. And it also features an auxiliary output so that you can power other equipment up while your camera is powered up. And that plugs into your 12-volt power point. That's pretty much it, I think. Other stuff that's in here, you get some stickers so you can advertise to everybody that you are recording them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it in my car, and the weather's not real good today, so I'm going to wait till the weather improves a bit. We're going to mount this in the car, mount the back camera in the back window, mount the front camera up front, and we're going to take it out and take it around for a little bit of a test drive and do some recording with it. Alright, I've temporarily mounted the camera in my car using zip ties and black tape. That's not going to be where it goes on a permanent basis. It'll go up in the window, high up in the window. But right now I've got other cameras. I'll probably replace that one up there because that one's not being used at the moment. This one here actually is my main dash camera. It's actually outside the car, mounted on the back, which is where all the outdoor cameras should go. But this one here is not an outdoor rated rear camera, so it goes in the back glass. But here's the camera mounted. Again, I've got it mounted to a mount that I use for other devices. So it'll have to suffice. If I turn on the car, the camera will boot up and we'll get 3 screens. That's about as close a shot as I can get. As you see, it has the main front camera displayed in the largest portion of the screen. And you got the interior camera, which is what you see on the right there. That's for filming inside the cabin. That's on the top left, and the bottom left is the rear-facing camera, which I've just stuck in my back window, attached it to what was another dash camera. Again, held in place with zip ties and black tape. Because this is a temporary installation in my car at this particular point in time. I don't have room for another dash camera, but once I do my evaluation, this may very well become my main dash camera. So that's why I'm going to do this evaluation over the next couple days. I'll do some shooting at night and during the day. And we'll take a long look at the footage and see how it performs compared to my other cameras that are already in the car. And then this one will likely go back in the box and sit there until I need it. But this is an evaluation, so if it's not quite level, oh well, because it's just a temporary installation at this point. Let's go out and do some driving and see how this camera performs. Here's a shot from the 4K front camera. Bear in mind that the camera encodes in high efficiency video compression, HEVC, which is H.265, and my editing software does not support H.265. So I had to convert this over to H.264 before I could edit it. So that is going to degrade the image slightly. The camera is running in high dynamic range, or HDR mode, and that's one of the reasons why the sky looks so blue. The picture off this is actually a beautiful image. When I looked at it on the computer screen, it was like, wow. So I don't know how it's going to look with YouTube's recompression, but it does look good. This is, again, the front-facing camera. I'll now show you the same shot from both the interior cameras and the rear camera. I just did these in 1-minute clips, so the camera will support 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, or infinite recording. We'll now take a look at the interior camera, and as you can see, it covers everything inside the cabin of the car. So this is important if you're an Uber or another rideshare driver. Can record evidence of anything that may happen. If you're assaulted by your passenger, for example, you've got video evidence. Let's take a look at the rear camera now. Depending on what type of vehicle you're driving, your rear view angle will be different. I'm driving a hatchback, which has got quite a steep rear window, which makes it hard to get a good shot, at least from where it's mounted in the car. If I go higher, there's actually a shade over that, a black shade, so I can't go too high on this particular window. Rear camera records in 1080p, just like the interior camera, and it can also be mirrored. Right now I've got it in standard view, but you could mirror it so that if you're looking at it on the little screen, it would look like your rear view mirror. Records the coordinates and your speed and the date and time. If I had the time set right, which I don't have my time zone correct, because it's not 9 o'clock in the morning when I shot this. I had my time zone set incorrectly, but once you set the time zone correct, that will fix that issue. You can turn off the on-screen display for all the cameras. It's optional in the menu, which I'll show you shortly. Here's another shot out the front window. This time I had the radio on so you guys can hear the sound quality that's recorded by the mic. So I'll just shut up and let you listen.
Inspire a movement, maybe even change the world. Because when you donate blood or plasma through Canadian Blood Services, you don't just help save lives, you change so many more. You don't just make a difference, you make all the difference. Join Canada's Lifeline and book now.
And here's a reason why you might want to have a CPL or a circular polarized filter. The reflection off the dash that I'm getting from the light shining in is eliminated with a CPL filter. I didn't have one that would fit on this camera, I would have put it on, but the one I've got is for my other camera, and it's a larger diameter, so it wouldn't fit. But a CPL filter would be a great addition, and I think that anybody that buys this camera really needs to get a CPL filter because it will make a huge difference in the image quality. Once again, a shot from the back camera. Remember, it's a 1080 camera. It's been scaled up, so obviously the picture quality is not going to be quite as good. But it's still more than acceptable.
Because when you donate blood or plasma through Canadian Blood Services, you don't just help save lives, you change so many more. You don't just make a difference, you make all the difference. Join Canada's Lifeline and book now at blood.ca. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in today's real estate market, listen to Vancouver Consumer this Saturday at 2.
By the way, that house you see on the left, that's where the former Premier of BC, Bill Vander Zalm, lives.
7 years and over 1,000 successful transactions in the Lower Mainland, he always has some great tips on how to navigate the market's ups and downs. John Carlson.
Last couple shots here just to show you how the performance is at night. Front camera, also show the interior camera with its infrared night vision, and the rear camera, and then we'll go over some of the other features back at the shop, including remote access from the smartphone. Camera features infrared night vision. It does have an infrared cut filter, which you'll hear it click when it goes into night shot mode, so it doesn't affect the color during the day. It removes that filter so that it can operate under infrared light. And again, this is important if you're a cab driver or an Uber driver, that you've got an interior camera, because bad things can happen without video evidence. It's your word against the passenger. So if you're driving, I would highly recommend you have a camera like this that has an interior camera, just for your own protection and for your passengers' protection. I'm not an Uber driver at this point, but when I retire, hey, who knows, I might do that, and if I did, I would certainly have this camera in my car. Yeah, I know my window's dirty. That's the way it is. It's winter here. We get a lot of dirt on the window. I can wash it today and tomorrow it would be just as dirty. But you get an idea of how well the camera performs in the dark. I don't think I need to stay on this any longer. You get an idea how it looks. Let's go back into the shop and we'll go over some of the features from the smartphone app and so forth. It's been a few days since I shot the footage for the VANTRUE Nexus 4 Pro. And as I explained before, it has 3 cameras. It has one camera that faces out front. It captures out the front in true 4K HDR, which is high dynamic range video. So you get good between the darkest and the lightest is a very good dynamic range. You can put a circular polarized filter. It does have on the front here, it does have the threads to put a 37mm circular polarized filter, which of course will remove glare from your windshield, which is a good thing. It also has a 1080p interior camera with LEDs. As you can see, there's the LEDs there, so it's got night vision. So in the dark, it's recording in infrared, so it's black and white, but in the daytime, it's full color. And the screen, as I think I showed, will display the front camera and the interior and the rear camera, and of course the rear camera, which I've already packed away. Let's go through some of the operations, some of the menus on here. So I'll power the camera up, and I've got my USB power supply plugged in here, so it should be ready to go. And the camera turns on, and as you'll see, the front camera will display. And right now you'll see the interior camera is displaying here. The rear camera, if it was plugged in, would also display down here in the bottom corner. As I explained in the video, by pressing the view button here, you can change to the front camera, the rear camera, or the interior camera. But right now there's only 2 cameras on there, so you only get the shot from the 2. But you can reverse them. So in this case, the interior camera is full screen, and the front and rear cameras are on the small screen, and you could reverse it again so that the rear camera is large screen and the front and interior on the small screen, or you can look at the individual cameras just by pressing this button down here. You can also go in, if you press the start stop button over here, there's a microphone on here as well, so it will record. It's even got an infrared receiver, so you can actually have an infrared remote that will control it. It doesn't come with it, but it looks like there's an optional one available. If I press the mic button here, that will turn off the microphone so it doesn't record what's going on in the cabin, or turn it back on. You can have your conversations recorded. That's important if you are using this as a rideshare camera, because that's what this is. These cameras are actually designed for ride sharing, for security of the driver. So if you've got some clown in the back of your car that decides he's going to stiff you or he's going to rob you or whatever, you've got his picture. Install the app. I'm going to look for VANTRUE. The password is 1234567 It's telling you that. It's telling me to look. So it says get started. So let me just go down here and go to settings. Gotta do that part first. Go to connections and go to Wi-Fi. It's N4 VANTRUE. Click to that, and the password was 1234567 There we go. Keep Wi-Fi connected. Now, I'm connected to this. This is acting as a hotspot. If I go back to the app, and I can connect Nexus series, it's that one. Nearby device. It finds it. And I'm connected, it says here. Now, I can now view the pictures on my phone. I can see exactly what's showing on the camera. Okay, that button changes the view, and it changes it on the display as well. Right, just like pressing buttons on the camera, I can change. I can turn the microphone on and off. I can go in and change all the settings that I can change, just like I can change it from the camera itself. I can select the resolution, loop recording. I've got it set to 5 minutes. It can select to 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or infinite, which means it'll just record a continual file until the file size limit or the card is full. And then when the card's full, it'll just stop. G sensor settings, privacy mode, exposure control, record light status on and off, HDR on and off. Turn it off. It's for the front camera. etc. Cabin in the rear, if there was a rear camera connected, it would show up there as well. So you can change all those settings from the phone, so you don't have to touch any buttons on the car. Enter your number plate, turn on your stamp. If you want the date and time stamp, except for the brand model stamp, I had it on mine. I had everything turned on it, so it'll show VANTRUE, but you can turn that off. Mileage statistics, so you can actually have it log your mileage, so that you can read out how many miles or kilometers you covered. Just wondering what some of these buttons here do. Okay, so this lets me, I guess this lets me access, this lets me access the files here on the card itself. So I can play back recordings on my phone. Move to the next one, then it goes to the interior camera, and then the rear camera. This is the one I had all three cameras connected.
Tired? By 55 bit, you could crumple up that. Tired? By 55 bit, you could crumple up that piece of paper and throw it in the garbage. By 55 bit, you could crumple up that piece of paper and throw it in the garbage. There's a lot of...
So that's remote playback operation. And then you could, of course, download it onto your phone by clicking the download button, and it would download a copy of that to your phone. I don't know whether this has the ability to live record onto your phone or not. It might. I'm not going to say it does, but I have my clips set to 5 minutes, you see. So each one is set to 5 minutes. Mileage statistics. So shows me how long and how many. Highest altitude, I went as high as 78.3 meters. My start altitude was 9.3 meters above sea level. My average speed was 65. My maximum speed, oops, I was speeding. I had to pass some clown that was that changed lanes in front of me and then slowed down. So he changed into the left lane and then slowed down, of all the dumb things. So I went around him and floored it to get around this idiot. Did 52 kilometers, 52.6 kilometers today. That was my little drive today. So that's the remote operation. Of course, you can bring it up full screen. By just tapping on the corner of the screen here, you can bring it up full screen or take it back to that view. So you've got two choices. You can look at your footage full screen. We'll just go through the menus here. Just disconnect it. Then we can do the same thing. We can go into record setup, files, and system setup, and do exactly the same thing right on the camera itself. So you don't need to use your phone, and that's something I really have never done on any of the cameras that I've owned. They've all got the ability to control from an app, and I've just never used it. I've just done it right from the camera itself. It's just as easy to do it this way than it is to log in. You know, files show me the files that are on the camera. Event video, normal video, photo are all files. So normal video, this will show the recordings that were made. And it'll say A, B, and C. There we go, A, B, C. A, B, C for the front camera is A, B is the interior camera, and C is the rear camera. And then the recording setup, again, resolution, loop recording, IR LEDs, auto, G sensor, privacy mode, audio recording. The same settings that you get through the app, you can do here. Turn the camera on and off, the power button over here, just press it, it'll turn the, when you press it, it locks the file actually. You press and hold, I think you shut it off. There. And that turns it off. And of course the SD card is under this magnetic lid, which you just pop out. Okay, that does it. Thanks for watching. I will put a link in the description to the camera. Catch you in the next one. Bye.